Hi, this is Sally Morgan, craniosacral therapist, Tellington TTouch practitioner, and physical therapist for animals and people. And this is Tristan, who's a Corgi, and this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. It is still raining here in New England, although they are saying that it will brighten up this afternoon, very optimistically, and it will make it over 70 degrees, and by next week or even this weekend, it will be 90 degrees. Tristan playing in the raps, young man. And we will have summer starting Monday, which is very exciting because I think even the trees that suffered from the drought we had last year are starting to get a little waterlogged from all of this rain. Any of my containers that I have plants in, even with holes in the bottom, the plants are just swimming. I think I've lost a bunch of pansies, and my tomato planter, as the tomatoes have flopped down, I have to go out there and try to save them. Luckily there will be some sunshine this afternoon, and the animals are certainly indicating that things are going to be better because the deer were right along my back fence this morning eating, hopefully collecting ticks, not dropping them, eating the greenery and hanging out. I have some great pictures of them. And the crows, I love the crows. I have a family of crows that had a couple of kids in the last 3 years since I've lived here, and the crows were literally dancing in the backyard this morning. They were skipping sideways and just wonderful. I love the crows so much. I don't know how I could live here without them. I just really love them. So I had a really busy long day yesterday. I went to my educator job early in the morning, and then came home from that rather late and ran immediately to my Women's Business Association meeting, which also ran late, and then I ran all the way into another town near here that's kind of an obnoxious drive with a lot of lights for dinner with my friends at 8. I got home from that at about 10:30, and I'm not a person who does well with a scheduled disruption, so this was a little rough on me, but I was happy to see my friends and had a really good, productive insight or two at the women's business meeting, and got to make a lot of money by working so long yesterday. So today I'm going off to teach the seniors yoga this morning, and I have some clients coming in this afternoon, and then I have a lot of other work to do. So in fact, there's a crow out there now. So it'll be a slightly more relaxed day than yesterday. Well, quite a bit more relaxed than yesterday. So I wanted to talk today about one of the wraps that I like because you can use it for so many things, and I've seen it really benefit a lot of my clients, people after a stroke, and just my regular TTouch clients that come for help with their dogs or their cats and happen to mention they have an issue, and I show them this wrap, have had benefits. And of course lots of my horse riders have had benefits from all of the wraps, including this one. And some of my outpatient physical therapy clients have had good benefits with this wrap, including one woman who fractured her elbow, another one who fractured her finger, and by the way, a fracture is a break, fractured her finger and had all kinds of restrictions up and down her arm from the trauma from that accident. The wrap really helped her. So the arm wrap is exactly what it says, like so many of them. The names are very apt for what they are. It's a wrap that goes down your arm. And we usually wrap both arms, so you start with a wrap that you've attached together, and I'm using different colors so you can kind of see two different things with them. And this wrap is really good for people with repetitive stress injuries, such as typing, sitting too long at the computer, poor postural habits, sitting in a bad chair, anyone who's using their hands a lot. For instance, after you unload 50 bales of hay, your wrists and arms are going to be really sore, so this wrap might be good for that. It's good for people with rotator cuff issues, which is a big problem for a lot of older people because we've been, older, over 40, we've been lifting things incorrectly for most of our lives, and a lot of us working with animals are lifting particularly heavy things like water buckets and hay bales and bags of grain and dog crates. Dog beds don't weigh so much, but some people with big dogs have really heavy bags of food and dog equipment that they're lugging around. All the agility people are carrying stuff. And so rotator cuff injuries are pretty common for people with animals in particular. Elbow and wrist and hand injuries, this is a really good wrap for anything like that. I like this wrap. I've used it, as I said, quite a lot. So you want to put the seam where you've attached the wraps at the base of your neck, not on your neck. You want it below your neck, because if you put it on your neck, it might tend to put your head forward, which is actually going to make things a lot worse for your posture. So make sure you get it right at the bump at the base of your neck. Hopefully mine will stay there because my hair is slippery. And then you start by taking the wrap and simply wrap it down your arm. And you can, I try not to put the wrap right over the joint of my elbow. And then when you get to the end, you have a couple of different options, which I'll show you. One is to just turn around and wrap back up. And then I'm just going to tuck this in here. So I wrap down. It would be, you can see that it's crossed, but this wrap is so wide that you can't really tell. So I just wrap down and wrap back up. And it's on my wrist. I feel a little like a mummy in a Halloween costume. And then I'll show you another one on the other side. One of my friends, interestingly, said the other day that she was enjoying my conversations with a Corgi, and I said, oh, which one have you seen? And she said, the one with the wrap. I'm like, that's a lot of them. I don't know which one you saw. She didn't either. She was going to go back and check it out on YouTube, because these are all available on YouTube. So a good one for the hand is to come in between the thumb and the forefinger and then back up. And this really gives some support to your hand. I have to make this a little tighter because I don't have quite enough wrap to attach it properly. And you can do this with a 2-inch or a 3-inch wrap. I'm using the wider one just because I happen to have it out here and it's connected. So that's the other option, to go over your hand or to go down your arm. Now, I've also used these wraps for people with mild lymphedema. That is lymph pulling in your arms, particularly after surgery, particularly after breast surgery. So, oh my gosh, there's a pileated woodpecker like right outside the window. A huge one. I'm sorry he flew away when Tristan looked at him. Otherwise, I would swing the camera around to show you, but he had a bright cherry red head. Anyway, these wraps are good for mild lymphedema. There are other ways of using wraps for people with significant lymphedema, where they have to leave their arm wrapped up all day long to prevent swelling. For somebody that doesn't have a chronic problem or even really a big problem with that, but often after a stroke you have lymphedema in an arm, this wrap is a good thing. This wrap is not actually supporting you the way you would do a wrap if you had a sprained ankle. This wrap is just giving your body feedback about its position in space, about its relationship in the joints and the ligaments and the tendons to each other, and it is not really a pressure wrap for lymphedema. But I have used it because the kind of lymph work that I do is very light. It's very different than the water work that a lot of people are familiar with for lymphedema. And so I found that these wraps are actually a good companion for the work that I do. So if you have an issue with that and you're not under, you're not having a serious issue with it, you might want to just give this a try. So you just wrapped it down your arm. It's like elegant evening wear. And this one, I wrapped it down the arm and came back up on my wrist. Now I have to tell you, sitting here with it 2 ways, I am feeling that this arm with it around my hand, it feels much more complete. On this one, I feel like my hand is kind of floating in space and not really connected. So I'm going to change that wrap so that it is attached like the other one and just see what happens over time. I'm going to tuck him in. Again, I didn't put them very tight, so they're not staying that well, but that feels much more even. So these wraps are good, as I said, for people with carpal tunnel syndrome, frozen shoulder. tennis elbow, if you position the wrap, as I did on this arm, over the elbow and under the elbow, it's going to be especially good for tennis elbow and golfer's elbow, which is the opposite of tennis elbow. It's just different tendons. Arthritis, and for frozen shoulder, this is really helpful. And I can feel, particularly the way the blue wrap is, that this shoulder on me actually does get frozen sometimes. But because I feel the connection all the way to the end of my fingers, I feel a different way of moving my arm when I lift it up than what I usually have. I don't know, this side, yeah, I can't even lift this side today. But this right side is not always my good side. But I can see that having this wrap on is really helpful. And again, make sure, like as I've been moving, my wrap is sliding up. You don't want it on your neck, you want it just below your neck. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this, and again, you can use less wide wraps. As I said, I just happen to have these wide wraps out. That's why I look like a mummy. With a slimmer wrap, you'll be able to cross it more. And actually, maybe I will take one of these off and just try a slimmer wrap and let you know what that feels like in comparison. Tris, hand me a 2-incher there, buddy. He's not too lively today either. He had a big day at work yesterday too. And you saw the woodpecker. That was pretty exciting. Now to get this back on, put that over my shoulder. Now again, on this one we're leaving the joints out. A lot of people really like the wrap on their point of shoulder here, but with this particular wrap, you go around the joints. So I didn't put it on my hand. It's interesting. It feels like more pressure with the thinner wrap, which is something we notice with the TTouches that we do. The more pointy your fingers are, if you have a flat hand, it doesn't feel as deep as it does when your fingers are up on their tips. So the slimmer wrap is feeling a little deeper, which actually I think would be really much better for things like tennis elbow tendinitis and carpal tunnel, because it does feel more connected with some of the denser tissues of the body because it feels deeper. Tendons and ligaments are very dense tissue, not like they're deep in the body, but they're dense. There's more material cells per inch, meaning they're dense. And so I feel like this is giving more information to that denser tissue. Now I will wrap it over my hand. And oh, that feels really good. The slimmer wrap over the hand feels awesome. So if you happen to have been lifting a lot of hay bales or carrying a lot of things, hurt your hand, lifting a heavy bag, try one of these wraps, because I do think that you would find some benefit. And again, I've used this for people with strokes in particular on the affected side. And I've also connected them like this. And I would encourage you, if you are working with someone with a stroke, to use the same color wrap on both sides, which probably for most people will be the flesh-colored one you buy at the store, because not everyone has the time to dye their wraps. But the reason I say that is when someone's had a stroke, their brain needs to use the unaffected side, the healthy side, to give information to the injured side so that the brain can function as a whole again. And so using the same colored wrap will help the brain connect the right and left side more than using two different colors. This really differentiates right and left, and especially because I have two different width wraps here. And after a stroke, I have found this really helpful to have the person with the wrap on their healthy side, move their arm and do the activity that we're going to do. And then usually it's sliding or opening or turning the wrist up and down. And then use the other side, because the brain will use the information from the healthy side to help train the unhealthy, injured side. And I find that the wrap really helps make that connection better for the brain. So if you are working with anyone with a stroke, that's a really important thing to think about. You're not just going to wrap the one side, and it's good to use the same color. And also it's really good to have the person use their visual mechanisms, their visual senses, their eyes, to watch what their hand is doing with both sides. And I try not to have them sit with their head tilted when they do that, because you really want to try to encourage right to left brain connection with someone who's had a stroke. So using the wrap connected on both sides and wrapped on their hand this way may actually be super helpful for helping someone learn to hold a spoon again. Usually after a stroke we use really fat, wide handles. Hold a pencil. Most often the stroke is on the left, so the right side is the affected side. So this could be super helpful. So if you know anyone who's an OT or a PT or someone who's had a stroke, try this wrap configuration, because it is really, I've had so much success with the wraps for people with strokes, and a similar kind of configuration on a person's legs I've had super good benefits with for Parkinson's and MS and spina bifida, and also for strokes. So there's many benefits of these wraps. I mean, they seem kind of silly, and the colors make them a lot more fun. And interestingly enough, I couldn't find a way to put this on my Facebook page to show you, but someone in Colorado in my group found an ad on Facebook for using wraps with your dogs, and they did not credit TTouch. And believe me, TTouch has been doing this a long time. Linda and Robin have been working on this for 17, 20 years, and we've been using wraps on horses even before that. So this is not new science that someone has decided that wrapping up your dog is a good idea. We've been doing this for a long time, and someone else has decided that wrapping up your dog is a good idea. And I really encourage you to try the wraps on yourself, because then you'll start to understand the benefits they can have for your animals. And we do a similar wrap like this on dogs. We go over the shoulder and wrap the 2 front legs, or wrap the 2 back legs. Of course, we don't go through the pads. That would be very uncomfortable for a dog. So that's our arm wrap today. We're having sort of a short day because I have a lot to do, including walking the dog outside when the sun comes out today. The other interesting thing about wraps is that when you take them off, it's very obvious that there's still a change in your posture. So anybody who's struggling with postural issues, which is, let's face it, all of us, because our lives in this century are very focused on our cell phones and our computers. And when we're not doing that, we're driving. And so, you know, our bodies are used in ways that they were not originally intended. So it can be really hard on our postural muscles. They are supposed to be, just like I said before, your structure is holding you up. The muscles are not supposed to have to pull your body from here to here. And certainly watching the seniors that I work with and their posture, I get a really good sense of what their lives were like, because the evidence is written in their bodies, and you can see clearly the issues that they've had working really hard, standing as a machinist for years and years, or whether they had a different kind of job, doing repair work on things. So it really does pay to pay attention to your posture before you get to that point, so that you can make some changes that will help your body and improve your health. Tristan, do you have anything to say? He's wearing another one of Judy Ryan's great bows. It's really one of my favorites. It's got rainbow paw prints on it. Tris, do you want to stand up a little? I guess they can see you. And I am wearing, again, my beloved Corgi from Tamsin Araby. She makes the most beautiful pendants. She makes horses and hummingbirds, and she sent me some pictures of German Shepherds for my German Shepherd friend. I've asked her to make some Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. She's working on that, and certainly my sister will let you know when the Cavaliers are available. But they are, I have a lot of neck problems. They're very lightweight. I can wear this all day. I put this on a blue cord, but they come with a nice black leather cord. She's on Etsy, she's on Facebook, and her name again is Tamsin, S-E-N, Arabi, A-R-A-B-I, and I love her work so much. And it's dichroic glass, which became popular a few years ago, but I just love her corgis. And I have a horse on the way in the mail, a little purple horse. I'm so excited. He looks like a piece of amethyst. It's just, the jewel tones in these pendants is just incredible. So we will be back tomorrow around 8:25 for another episode of Conversations with a Corgi. In the meantime, we hope everyone has a really nice day and enjoys the sunshine that's coming out. We might be outside tomorrow because it will be sunny. I might not be sitting on those cushions on my yard furniture for weeks, though. I think they're saturated. I've got something to say this. Bye, everybody. Have a great day and enjoy the sun when it comes out later.